We just got back from our trip to it was my birthday trip, but it was a month after my birthday.
Yes.
We went to North Carolina.
Already after my birthday.
We went to Chimney Rock. It was closer to Mark's than mine, but you know what? Time sucks.
Well, everyone, welcome back. We
haven't recorded in a long time.
Yes.
We took a bit of some break or a break
so these last couple Mondays of our post for the show has been a little stagnant. But this episode that you're about to hear, it's been a long time coming.
Yes.
And it's been a while since we've been recording. So we're a little rusty. A little
bit. I know. When I opened up Audacity, I was like, "Oh God, can I do this?"
Right? It's been so long. We have not recorded since January. For real.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
We literally had. I don't even know how we had that many episodes ready for 3 months. But yeah, we haven't recorded since then.
Today's episode's a little bit special. It's another Zoom interview.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about who it is.
So it's about the person being interviewed is a YouTuber named DukeSloth, who is a creator for Smite, which is one of my favorite games ever. Honestly,
currently to this day,
one of the worst games I've ever played. That's how it is. That's a MOBA. It's pretty fun. It's free to play. Go play it. You know, if you hate yourself. DukeSloth's a super cool guy.
Yeah, and so it's been so long since we've been on, but we're very happy and fortunate to be still doing this show and bringing you guys some of the best stories we can showcase.
Yeah. So, also, just prepare for the audio on our end to drop. He'll sound pretty good. We might be a bit quiet, or our audio might sound a bit choppy, but that's just because it's no way to fix that, really.
Yeah, so bear with us. We're really excited for the future of the rest of this show and what we bring beyond. And this episode is just a little bit of taste of what we still got to bring, my man.
All right, so let's do it. So today we have a guest I'm incredibly excited to interview, DukeSloth, who is a Smite YouTuber. That's what I knew him from. Super big fan of this guy. I've been watching him since his channel started getting up, but I would never have run into it if my friend Mason, who's also a huge fan, would never told me about it. So I got to you when you were about like 10K, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also a big fan. He wanted me to tell you that, he loves you and he loves all your stuff, and he's a big fan.
Thank you.
No problem. So, what's your real name? Is that okay?
That is actually incredibly confidential.
Okay, I got you.
Confidential. I'm very careful with that, not because I don't want to tell people my name, but because being an internet creator comes with its downsides, and people being really weird is one of them.
I understand.
Yeah,
I
totally
cool. Sure. No, but keeping it on incognito for sure. I respect it. For sure.
So, tell the people listening a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So, where do I start? I guess I started getting into making videos on YouTube at the time I was in uni, which was how many years is that now? 6-ish years ago, I think. And initially it was just like a fun hobby, but it was with the intention to see if this can go somewhere job-wise in the long run. Now I am a full-time YouTube content creator. I finished my uni bachelor still. I finished my, I guess essentially the first half of a degree in business psychology, which is a very strange sounding one.
Yeah, I know, like the psychology in business, huh?
Yeah, it is not psychology in business. That's why it's so weird. So it's essentially business and psychology in separate parts of the study, and then a third part that is both combined. So it's very specifically aimed towards going into marketing later. which along the way I kind of realized I didn't really want to do. And that's kind of how I ended up with YouTube. My prof got sick in the year I was meant to write my bachelor thesis. And as a result of that, I kind of decided that instead I'm going to try and make this YouTube thing full time. And I told my parents about that, and they were like, okay, we'll support you for half a year. And either after that you've achieved financial independence, or you go and figure out something else. And fortunately it worked out.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that must have been pretty scary though, right? You know, how many subscribers were you at when you decided to do that?
I think somewhere around the 5-10K ish, I would say. Don't quite remember, but it must have been around that. It wasn't necessarily scary insofar that the place I was living in was very cheap, and I also had another job at the time. I was working as let's just say helper to a secretary in the uni's office as well. So I had some money coming in from elsewhere.
Okay.
And because my bachelor thesis was delayed anyways, there wasn't really anything to do, and either this works out or I'm going to finish my thesis, and then I'm going to go into a more traditional job. And I ended up finishing my thesis about 3 years later, I think, because YouTube took over completely. But so it wasn't all too scary. It was relatively comfortable, but I think it comes with the territory insofar that in Germany studying is incredibly cheap. So it's not really something where you worry about spending an extra half year on it or something, because it doesn't really cost.
Man.
I didn't know that. Over here, it's definitely the other side.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
It's more expensive.
You're in Australia right now. Is the gaming community really huge over there?
No.
I think in one of your videos you talked about when season 8 came out, the Smite servers were crappier than they typically are. Over on the East Coast of America, I've never had an issue getting into game, especially because I'm on console, right? And Smite is the most easily accessible on there. But I know in other places that it can get pretty hard. You can be waiting a while for a game to queue up. And then when season 8 happened specifically, it was just like servers were terrible. But yeah, so it's still bad even in Australia. I figured there'd be a better player base there.
Yeah.
The server issues are actually fine in Australia now. Finally, after season 7 being completely horrible in that regard. But the player pool is definitely still small. It's gotten better. We've gotten more players this season, so you find matches, but I can quick anecdotal story on that. So it's an issue in online games is smurfing, which is when experienced players make new accounts to basically run over newer players. And I was playing the other day, and I was playing with another content creator, with the other Frost.
Yes,
and
I've talked to him as well.
Yeah. Oh, right. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. I love you guys are my favorite Smite creators, and I was like,
nice.
What are the chances I get to talk to both of them? Sure. Yeah. You guys are awesome.
Wait, this was on the podcast as well, or?
I talked to him. I sent him a message asking him if he wanted to be on. He said yes, but at a much later time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and then you got back to me, and I was like, whoa, because I've been watching him longer than him, but. It's pretty awesome. I'm excited I even got to message you guys on Discord. It was pretty cool.
For sure.
Nice. Shout out to Frost. Well, anyways, the story that came with that was that he wanted to join for a game because he wanted to just, I guess, experience the terror of Australian servers. And we ended up playing against a stack team of 4 Smurfs that were all running on secondary accounts. And therefore we had completely new players on our team along with us. And it was just completely disastrous. And I was just like, yep, that's the Australian experience right there. because there are just not enough players to just offset teams like that. The system just doesn't have a clue what to do.
That makes sense. I've always found that interesting, like how matchmaking even works in games like Smite or in general. You know, it's definitely, they got these algorithms and stuff, and I'm like, damn. But so I got one of the questions I got for you is, when did you get into Smite, and why did you stay in Smite?
I got into Smite in season 1, so 8 years ago. I don't exactly remember how it happened. Like everyone else always has their story. Like, oh yeah, I saw it there, and then I went for it, and I'm like, yeah, I guess I saw it somewhere. I know that I started with a friend, but I'm not sure if I found it or if he found it. It was what I remember is that I really liked it because it was essentially the same game format as League of Legends, which I was playing at the time, but the control scheme of World of Warcraft, and that was the game that I played for a significant portion of my life before that, not so long portion of my life, but a very intense short portion where I didn't do much else. Why did I stay? Because I enjoyed it. I actually took a break, like around season 2-ish, I think. For a while, I didn't enjoy it as much, and I played Borderlands primarily, and then I tried making YouTube content about Borderlands, but it was Borderlands the pre-sequel at the time, which flopped pretty hard. And as a result of that, I realized, well, this is not really going to be the future for my content creation. And I got back into playing Smite, and then decided, okay, I might as well try and see if I can make content about this instead, and how that goes. And that worked pretty well.
Yeah, good. What was your first god you ever played?
Oh boy, I can say the first god I bought, that was Nemesis, because she was in the launcher. Back then the launcher had this like preload window still, and that was a video, I think, of Allied playing Nemesis, maybe Allied.
Wow, yeah, that would have been a while ago.
That was season 1, and
that's what you just said that.
And yeah, I know that I saw her design and her kit, and I was like, yo, that's what I want to play. But I don't know what god I played when I like first went into the game. I think I didn't really care much for the starter gods back then. That happened later.
So I'm definitely not like a very savant on the lore of Smite for sure, but I can definitely attest to gaming in general too. And so when Thomas and I got together for this, I was really excited to talk to you about just in general. I feel like everybody, you know, especially when we're younger at our ages, we started playing games really young. Do you know how long you've just been gaming in general for your life? Like, and what?
Oh yeah, I started young as well. I started I can actually hang on. I can figure that out exactly for you. Give me 1 second. I don't know the exact answer.
He's got the journal. It's like today I played my first video game.
So the big thing for me was my first Game Boy, and actually I can't tell you the exact date, because that was actually the first game. Like the first big game that I got was Pokemon, like the first edition. But before that, I had one other game, which was Donkey Kong Country, which I got for very cheap, and I didn't have much money. Obviously, I was a kid, so that was the game that I could afford, and I played that, and played it.
No, yeah, I've always been interested in just seeing like where everybody starts. I feel like there's never one concrete specific answer with gaming that people have. I feel like everybody started.
Oh no, that was very like definitely that one. Even though I maybe played like PC games on a friend's PC before or something, but that was at least my own like entry into that, where I got my thing to play with, and I think it was actually the first thing I did. And then my first PC was also very young. I mean, I guess by back then standards, nowadays it's not special anymore. But like, I got it, I think, when I was 11 or so, because I got it as a hand me down from my from a distant relative. And my parents were very adamantly against me getting a console. They, for some reason, did not want me to have a Nintendo 64 or whatever at the time.
And PC Master Race before it was cool, man.
No, I mean, like I really didn't want to. I really wanted to have a console because I started on Game Boy, so I was in that Nintendo field already.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I was just not allowed to, but for some reason I was allowed to have a PC. So
interesting.
So I became a PC gamer.
They saw the controller and they were like, "This is the devil.
You must
never."
I think it must have been something bad. I mean, like, as much as you're joking about this, I think it must have been something where they just associated like console with this is only for gaming, whereas a PC can be used for something productive as well.
Oh, so, that makes sense. Yeah.
You're gonna be annoying either way, so at least you get this one and you can do something else with it. I suppose.
A bit more, open-ended with what you can do with it.
Well,
that's cool.
That's fantastic.
Is Smite your most played game, you think?
At this point it probably is.
So did you ever think when you were younger, like, this is the game, like when you first started, you're like, this is the game I'm gonna be playing?
I thought that with World of Warcraft for a long time, I suppose. But yeah, outside of that, not really. I mean, I'm always open to new experiences when it comes to gaming. I'm not someone who locks themselves in a game because he wants to, but more so because with Smite, it's just logical for me based on the fact that it's also my job at this point. But
yeah, right. I'm actually curious about that. So now you're doing this full time, and my question is, now with this being kind of this new outlet of like actually doing something that you like and doing it for your career as a full time, what I just want to know your thoughts about the community as a whole, as far as like just in general, nothing big,
the Smite community specifically.
No, just gaming in general too, because that is a new format of creating content, especially on YouTube, and I just want your opinions on it, your thoughts about that whole thing, and you being included in that as well.
Right. I think that's it's kind of hard to generally answer that, like, because it's basically there's three different communities here, right? You have the gaming community, you have the Smite community, and you have the content creator community. Right. When it comes to the Smite community, I would say it's as you would expect it for a mobile community. It's not like it's not dramatically different from others. There is a decent amount of toxicity, but in real life, the vast majority of people that you meet are very nice. They're just not nice in your games.
Yeah.
But that comes with the game, like that comes with how these games work. Like that, it's just a very easy like frustration factor to be built up around. Any of this types of game where even people that you like can be extremely frustrating to play with because. You have certain expectations that need to be fulfilled or whatever. Gaming community as a whole, I think, is more of a misconception, really, because I think gaming communities are so vastly different between them that I no longer think that they can be generalized as one community. Right. Like, especially now that it's even harder to say where you draw the line. Like, for example, for the longest time, you had a lot of people that were elitist in that regard, that they said that you can't count mobile gaming as gaming community. And now mobile games, especially in Asia, are really blowing up as the new market for competitive gaming, bringing in lots more players and lots more money than PC games or console games ever did. And I think gamers will eventually have to acknowledge that is part of gaming now. So that, for example, reshapes the community as a whole again, which makes a general answer super hard. Content creation community, rough territory, I would say. I think it's very insular, I suppose. Like you'll have groups of people that fit together very well and become very close friends. And either you're part of a group or you're not, and then you will have a really hard time fitting in with them or connecting with them. And likewise, it's also obviously a very competitive field because the margins in content creation are incredibly thin, and it's very competitive because of that, because everyone wants their piece of the slice. And you meet some really good people. I think I've met some really good people where like you find that you can find you will not have that feeling that they want to put up this like competitive aspect with you. They see you as a friend or as an equal, but not as competition. But a lot of people will see you as competition, and some people will just outright hate you. Like especially smaller creators will sometimes just outright hate you because you're more successful, and they wish that was them.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. That's true. I mean, I wish I was big too, but it's more of like I envy you. I don't hate you though, you know? Like I just kind of like
otherwise I don't think I'd be here.
Yeah, right. It's like well, because there's a I think there's got to be a line drawn where you understand that like the person is successful because they worked hard to get there. You can't just get there in a year, or you can they see the success, they don't see all the work that went on behind that, right? Because anything worth doing takes a lot of hard work, and you know it's and to a degree a little bit of luck too, but you know.
I would not even just say a little bit of luck. I think content creation as a whole is a massive amount of luck at any point. Like you can looking at like Twitch streamers, for example. You can also be successful one day and you can fail miserably the next day and never recover from that if you don't have the right long-term strategy. So it's not just luck at the end of the day, but getting popular has a lot to do with luck. I think I would say among like content creators in general, I'm someone who was very strategical about it from the start. Like I said, I was planning to earn money with my content creation very early on, and I effectively like advertised my videos a lot on Reddit, for example, which was something that gave me a bit of an edge where I wasn't as dependent on luck. But obviously, there's still luck involved with the YouTube algorithm picking up the videos based on that, and allowing me to succeed. So I think as much as people like to talk about planning, and as much as planning is a factor as well, I think luck will always be a very key factor when it comes to content creation. I think people need to be way, way, way more aware of that than they are, since a lot of people think, you know, if I do this for 2 years, it will work out. And there's literally no guarantee. And every time you try to get into a different game or something, it's reset to zero as well. So it's interesting.
Has you know, since gaming is your career now, has it diminished its entertainment at all? Do you still find it as fun as it used to be, or what?
It definitely has impacted that. Yeah, no, for sure. I think it depends a lot on the day. Like with Smite specifically, nowadays I look at it like it's a job. You're likely not going to enjoy your job every single day, no matter what job you're doing. And sometimes it's fun, and sometimes I enjoy it, and other times it's frustrating and not so fun. And both is acceptable. Both happen from time to time, and I just have to keep going, work it as a full-time job. You know, just work when I get up or when at some point of the day at least, so that I can continue doing what I'm doing. And it can be, I think, if there are like moments where I'm held back from it, or when I'm frustrated with it, it's not so much about the game usually, and more so about the YouTube algorithm. Like lately, for example, it's been super frustrating to make content because my videos just all of a sudden basically don't get the same traction. I'm all of a sudden losing subscribers when I upload for like 2 weeks now, which never happened, or like has happened before, but usually for much shorter periods, and sometimes it's just a YouTube bug. And right now I don't know what it is. And that obviously, like, that's very demotivating, because you're just kind of sitting there like, you know, I haven't done anything wrong as far as I'm aware, but things are suddenly going much worse and I have very little control over it. So those times I think would be something that frustrates me more. With games, I think it's just that, in many ways, I look at Smite as my job. When I play other games, I do realize that I have more of a classic mentality of like, I'm just playing this game. If I'm not planning to make content about it, but generally it really burns itself into your mindset that when you play a game, you want to play it in a way where it can be worth making content about at some point. And I think that can like take some of the fun out of it for sure. Because you usually, with my hours at least, I don't really have time to play games just for fun. It has to be something behind it where I make a decision that I will maybe try and invest into this game in other ways as well.
That brings a good point.
Oof,
I've never thought about, liking something that you play, but also knowing that it is also your job, thinking about doing, that's why you do it.
Or I guess since gaming is your job, I mean, it's any game now, you're like, this could potentially be something.
Yeah. Like when a new game comes out, my first thought is not, okay, am I going to like this game? But rather, is this game going to be worth it for content creation? Like, will this hold up long term? And is it worth going into? And I recently played through Cyberpunk, and I did initially think that I was going to make content about it. I thought it would be an interesting one to make content about. It's just not worth it at the moment. There's just too small of a market because the game didn't go too well.
There was so much buildup for it, and then because of it was in the state that it was when it came out, it just
it was kind of like, it was what you'd expect, right? Like, it was overhyped, way overhyped, and I did not overhype myself before, and I was like, I'm just gonna play this and see if I like it. And then there were a lot of issues with it along with that. I think I really enjoyed that experience still. I think story writing wise, this was one of the best games the best game I've ever played.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Yeah, I obviously I was frustrated with the bugs as well, but on PC they were fortunately not as bad. It was still bad, but it was not as bad. For me, because I at some point realized that this is not going to be like my content creation thing, that was a very different experience because I could go a little bit more into just playing it and just enjoying it. Which was nice in its own right.
I tried playing it on my Gen 1 Xbox One, and it was like 20 frames a second, and it didn't work. So it was terrible.
It was definitely not a game that you would want to play on console.
There was a meme that was like, they tried to sell like their game, or they made a special edition of their game on a console that couldn't run it. It was
Well, the opposite of that, is there a game besides Smite, of course, that you always go back to playing, that you go back, any type of game, they're just like, oh, I go back to it and I just always love playing it every time?
I mean, I don't really have one in mind. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's quite a few games where I'm sure that would be the case.
For sure.
Like before I even started making content, I played through Fable 1, I think around 7 times or so.
Wow.
So if I had the time right now, I'm sure I'd do another Fable run. There's Flat Out 2, which is like a car derby game, and I don't like racing games at all. Like, the only other car related game that I would ever touch is Mario Kart.
Classic.
But Flat Out is such an incredibly fun game, and I'm so disappointed that they kind of didn't really continue the same way.
Right.
Or Flat Out 2 was specifically. It was just so well done. So that's a game I always enjoy playing, especially with friends.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that where I'd love to dive into them again if I had the time for it, but I don't really. Don't Starve Together as well. Also one of those that consumes immense amounts of time, but it's super fun.
Going now into this year, after going through, this harsh 2020 that we had just went through, what are your hopes for yourself and for your goal, especially going into this year and beyond for your career?
I'm too disillusioned to still have goals. No, seriously. In my initial years of content creation, I had like in my idea, like, oh yeah, next year I want to get to 100K subs and I want to do this and I want to do that. And I very quickly learned that you have very little control over those plans. You have very little idea what will go into them, and things will always go differently from what you've planned anyways. And this is actually a mindset that I kind of developed earlier in life when I was backpacking, where I just realized, every day is going to be different from what you thought it might be. And that's maybe a good thing. You just have to appreciate it, and you just have to live your life according to that. And then I kind of lost that mindset with uni a bit, but then with content creation, it came back to me. And I was like, I just take things as they go and just hope it works out and try my best to make things work out.
Yeah, for sure.
After 2020, especially, I don't want to be optimistic about things to the same extent. Like my goals, I recently turned 30, and I was like, what are my goals for being in my 30s? And in my 20s, I had all these I'm gonna do this. By the time I'm gonna be 30, I'm gonna have whatever, a nice car and a house and whatnot. And now I hope by the time I'm 40, I will be in maybe a little bit better health than now. So I have to work on that. And I hope I'll be fine. I hope I'll be okay in whichever circumstances that may be. It really scaled down. I think it's also something that really was scaled down with my generation. I think before me, the boomers or something, where the expectations in life were really still you work a job for 5-10 years, whatever, and then you can afford your house and you start your family, and then the classic white picket fence future or whatever. And in my generation, I think it's become very clear that there are a lot of systems that work against you that will probably not allow you to do that unless you're very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
So my parents thought that both my sister and I would be much more successful when we're older than they are. And I think in terms of careers, we are. But if we will ever be in a position to be as financially comfortable as them, is a completely different question, and I doubt it.
No. Oh yeah. Oof. Yeah, I did what's the word? A realistic optimism is definitely, when 2020 happened and the pandemic came out, it kind of grounded a lot of people's hopes and stuff, which kind of sucks. But nothing stays down forever, right? So
I think I was already somewhat grounded before that because YouTube grinds you down.
Yeah.
It does ground and grind, and you are very grounded in two ways afterwards. I think you very quickly learn to understand your place and how far things can take you or will not take you. And how optimistic you should be about them.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if I would call my position cautious optimism still. I think it's just more blunt realism at this point.
Yeah. Oh wow.
No, but I do love what you said for sure. I think the traditional route idea of what life would be for everybody is definitely not the case, and I think that white picket fence is just different on the other side for everybody. For sure.
Yeah.
Which for you is content creating and building that platform and in the community of Smite. So for sure, I understand completely.
I have a couple quick rapid fire questions because I'm a huge Smite guy. I've been watching you for a long time. These are a couple of questions about Smite itself that I'd like to ask you real quick.
Sure.
So who's your favorite god in Smite?
Between Hunbats and Awilish.
Okay, all right. I see a lot of Awilix on your channel.
Guan Yu is also pretty close.
Guan Yu
and Vamana. Okay, that's enough.
My favorite was Robin back when he was a warrior. Played him. I'm a solo main. Robin was my favorite. Thought he was the greatest. They changed him to an assassin. I cried, but now I'm a Bologna guy, so it's all right. What was the highest rank you got in ranked?
Gold in Conquest in I think season 2, Diamond 1 in Joust within less than 20 games. That was also interesting. And I don't know, plat in duel, I think. But I have literally not touched ranked in many years, and now
ranked is a cesspool, to say the least. I tried my hardest for so long. The highest I ever got was like Diamond 2, and that was absolutely because I want to say, if there is anything that is luck centric, it is ranked conquest. You can get paired with people. It doesn't matter what your rank is. How you get ranked with people on your team can be as like silver, gold, whatever. It was rough.
Yeah, I mean, I would not like. I don't necessarily hate the concept of ranked as much nowadays, because really after OCE matchmaking, nothing can, like Australian matchmaking, nothing can scare you anymore. But like, unfortunately now I'm not even in the position where I could play ranked unless I choose to play it on like 200 something ping, because Australian ranked only pops very infrequently, only basically with pre-arranged games. So yeah, it's I think nowadays I would play it. I think I am relatively bored of casuals because the competitiveness is just too low. When I was playing in Europe, the competitiveness in casuals was actually surprisingly high. I think I must have had like just pretty good casual elo. And that led to having pretty good games. And yeah, that's just no longer the case. So it makes a big difference.
Okay.
But yeah, I think if I would play ranked nowadays, I think I'd try to like at least get the diamond. That's what most of my friends from back then are as well. So, but yeah.
And
my
last question is, what was your favorite season of Smite?
I think season 2 was a lot of chaotic fun in many ways. It had a lot of quirky things like dirty bubble meta and stuff. But
that was a interesting one. I wasn't there.
I honestly think as much as I hated the map and the meta and everything, I think season 7 was otherwise my favorite season because of the guard releases and because of the state that the game is in overall. There's just a lot of frustration factors that aren't there to the same extent as they used to be in previous seasons. The game's a lot more polished and stuff. So realistically, I think season 8 will probably be my favorite season.
Yeah, for sure. It's mine right now.
Yeah, because it's just the game keeps improving to some degree at least.
I feel like there's way more options now. As a solo laner, most of season 6 and 7 was literally Warrior's Blessing, boots, potions and whatever, and it was pretty refined. Glad Shield all the time, But I think it, at least to me, I think it's a bit more you have a bit more freedom. I get to build off that for real quick. I mean, do you regret at all that you've done YouTube? That this is what you've chosen to do? Or
no, I don't regret it. I think I don't regret it, especially in so far that for me, most alternatives are not much more appealing. Like for example, like one of the things that I did hate with the jobs I had previously, that I had to commute to work. I had to get up at a set time, which whatever my employer chose as their time to start in the morning. And then I had to commute there, which meant I had to get up hours before I felt my biological clock wanted to get up. And had to spend a lot of time moving back and forth that had essentially nothing to do with my jobs. And I absolutely hated that. And I'm also someone who does not necessarily see himself working under someone else's command. Like, it depends obviously, but like I had some good bosses and it was nice to work with them, but I also had some pretty bad bosses, and that was something where I knew I didn't really want to go back into it if I don't have to, and rather be more independent and have my own choices and stuff like that. But at the same time, I also would never like close the door on future opportunities of going into something else. Like realistically, YouTube is such a fragile field and such a risky field, even after years of working in it, that you're always going to have a level of stress about like, where am I going to be 5 years from now? And if there is a good job opportunity, like working a stable job that appeals to me, then I might still say, okay, I'll do YouTube as a hobby now. I'll do it. Like I'll still make some videos, but not on a regular basis, and go into a job that, is more stable and more reliable for me long term. But I mean, what is still stable and reliable nowadays anyway? So
I gotcha.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is be realistic. Don't set your expectations too high because you're gonna be disappointed. I've seen it time and time again. Like if you go in thinking this is how I'm gonna how it's gonna go for me, it's probably not. There's a lot of luck involved. Have a good plan, have a good strategy, have an idea how you will reach new people, because if you don't, then you're gonna be one of millions of creators that make content that may be good, but that just doesn't get found. As long as you can make the best content, as long as you don't have any strategy to market it or make it known, you will not get very far. And to be in the position that I am in now, where I don't need to advertise my stuff anymore, is a huge blessing. Like it's a massive amount of luck that gets you there. And don't quit whatever you're doing just yet, because there's a lot of risk involved. Like even if it goes very well for half a year, that doesn't mean it's going to last automatically. Like find out where the long-term standing of your channel is if you get some success, because the first years can be massive spikes and it can kind of die off after that. And also be ready for what this work is. Like even now I am working roughly 70-ish hours a week to some degree. It depends on what you interpret as work. Like if you interpret, for example, playing the game as work as well, or like whatever, doing socializing with fans and stuff like that. But all of that included, it really is a job that is like almost all consuming, and it's very hard to find free time. You are probably not going to have weekends. You are not going to have many vacations, and all the other things that come with a settled job, which may sound like not so much of a big deal initially, but it does take its toll on you, and you have to find your own ways to make breaks in between. So that is something to be very aware of. I know that those are not the most optimistic sounding words when it comes to content creation, but I think we get way too much of this messaging that it's just a rise and grind thing, and if you do that for a while, then you're going to be a millionaire, and that's really not what it's going to be for most people. And quite the opposite. It's a very tough job. It's a relatively low paying job, and it doesn't seem like it at first, but yeah, it sounds weird to say it's a tough job, but like physically, I think this job has taken more of a toll on me than a lot of the physical work I did when I was younger, which is quite ironic. But yeah, be prepared to sit a lot of hours in a desk, in a chair, in front of a desk, staring at a screen. It's a weird lifestyle, and it's also a very strange lifestyle when it comes to socializing, because you're self-employed. You're not in an office environment or any environment where you typically work with other people. So yeah, you're your own man, which is nice. You have your own work hours and stuff like that. So those are some of the benefits. But outside of that, prepare to be in a very different life from what I would say a normal working person has. My name is DukeSloth, and this has been The Power of Four.
Thank you again so much.
Thank you for hanging out. That was fun.
All right, perfect. All right.
Wait, I wanted to tell you something funny.
What's up?
I actually ended up listening to, like, you can include this as well if you want to. I actually ended up having a bit of a listen into your podcast beforehand, just so get an idea, like, who you are or what it sounds like. And I came across, I think I just scrolled through the episodes and I saw a name that sounded familiar but wasn't actually familiar. I think it was the Kaylee Danielle episode, where there's a song at the end. And because of your podcast, I actually ended up looking for that song. And because I was like, wow, this is actually really nice. And ironically couldn't find it anywhere because I then found out that it's not even released yet.
No. Yeah.
And now I'm following the person that is working on that song, and I guess it'll come out eventually on Instagram to see when it finally comes out.
Oh, that's incredible. Sure. That's exactly what the show is supposed to do. That's perfect. Yeah. So
basically a good friend of ours who went to school, her name is Kaylee, and she's currently working on music. She lives in Florida too. And so that was actually originally supposed to be like we had the guest and then the artist. But she was still working on the song. So we had just decided to do a small little interview about her song. So the music in the background was the instrumental for that track. Yeah, she's still currently working on it, but it's coming out very, very soon. It actually should be coming out for this season that we're working on with you. I think within the next couple of weeks. So, man, that's so funny. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I love that. I will definitely let her know. She'd love that. She absolutely would love that.
Yeah, tell her to hurry up with the song. It's been so long. though I gotta say, ironically, because she did like this commentary over the song, right? At the end of the episode, she just kind of explained how the song came to be, and I think in a way that was like its own vibe. Kind of, there's a song. I think it's called Raconte-moi une histoire, which is let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I was gonna
M83. You might be familiar with them. It's M83. They were kind of popular for a while because they had this song called Midnight City.
Okay.
Not the most popular name, I guess, M83, but I think if you hear the song, you'll recognize it. Midnight City was just very huge for like a few years ago. Super popular in commercials and stuff as well.
Oh yeah, awesome. I got it written down here.
And they have this other song, Raconte-moi une histoire. God, that was terrible. That was my French being butchered, but that is essentially a little girl telling a story about some frogs with some very subtle music in the background. That's just one of their tracks. I think it's like the outro track of the album. Okay. And it kind of reminded me of that. It's just, I don't know, it's a very, specific genre, but it kind of worked that way as well.
That's freaking fantastic, awesome, man. I love that. Yeah. Absolutely love that. And now presenting Scarlet Cimillo.
Did you think I was dramatic or overly emotional when I'm spilling my wine and my friends doing time? Well, I'm sorry, you were dead wrong. Did you think we'd stay up all night, talking till we see the sunrise, with my head on your chest and me holding your hand? But you spend your time trying to get in my head, asking if it was something you said. Got my back facing you in our bed, 'cause I can't tell you what I did. I've been caught in denying your calls, took the gun from the safe in the wall, but I can't tell you what I did. What I did, well, baby, I tried. They kicked in the front door, click bang, and I hit the floor. Tell you that they're taking me down, 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 and I keep screaming my name. No, we'd never be the same if I tell you what I did, what I did, what I did. Oh, oh. I know your mama wouldn't like me if she knew I had a rap sheet, 'cause I'm sipping my wine, covering up my girl's crimes like on her daytime TV. There's some questions running through your head, but some things are best left unsaid. You wake up and I ain't in our bed, but I won't tell you why that is. Found a cap in my underwear drawer, 15 grand in and under the floor, but I can't tell you what I did, what I did.